All right, everybody, here we go. Take two. Shut up and invest. I got my man Gerard and Ray with me today. We got a good story today. They're going to talk about how they wholesaled a owner finance note, right, and brought in a huge profits from owner financing that from selling that note. So, what's up, Gerard? What's up, Ray? How you guys doing today?
What's going on, man?
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. I'm excited to talk to you guys today. Another note there. I know I was talking to Gerard. He was in Mexico talking to me about this deal. So happy you're able to do that virtual wholesale thing.
Absolutely.
Just kind of break down where you got the deal from, the source of the lead, how you guys, came up with your, just kind of go through the whole process for us real quick.
If I may really quick, look, we wanted to partner with you on this, but you had your hands full with a new project that you got going on. That pop life. Congratulations.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, you're right. I was in Michigan visiting my grandson for the first time, and that's what I was telling the Gerard. So I was trying to make it happen, but then I was preoccupied too, and when I got back with you, it was too late.
It's all love.
It's all good. Be plenty more. Be plenty more. Man, I haven't had the opportunity to step on your platform and tell you how much we appreciate the information that you divvy out, the communication as an individual of your platform to us, and being able to respond to us on a regular basis, man. We're extremely grateful, and you really are a pioneer for what we've been able to do in our business, and we're looking to be Kobe and LeBron to you being Jordan and just on the finance, man. So extremely grateful, man. Extremely grateful, man.
I'm just happy I could share a little knowledge, and you guys took it and ran with it, man. So I appreciate that, though. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we actually found this deal from a wholesaler. We've been able to network with a group of wholesalers that really can lock up some deals. Sometimes it might not be the cleanest wholesale deal, so they'll to bring it to us within the marketplace. So this deal in specific was in a really, really rural area in a small town called McBee, South Carolina. Never heard of it. Thank God I never had to go there. Terrified with my life in McBee, South Carolina. But
it sounds so scary.
Yeah, it's like a population of 2,000. So, owner financing definitely allows us to do and have a lot more flexibility versus traditional wholesaling. So, wholesaler brought this to us. She had it underneath contract for, I believe it was $28,000. 25 with her wholesaling fee. It put it at 28, and around closing costs, it put us at about $31,000. What we need to close it out. If you look at it from a comp perspective, comped out, if you deck the property out, it probably would be at 80,000, 81,000 ARV. Well, the property probably needed 50,000 in repairs to get it there. So the wholesaler didn't have a wholesaling deal.
Mm-hmm. The numbers didn't make sense for a wholesale deal, right?
It doesn't make sense for a wholesaling deal. If you're a cash buyer coming in, trying to do a fix and flip for that doesn't make sense. So that's why she brought the deal to us. The property did have the benefit of being move-in ready. So, someone could live in it today.
That's a don't ever post that anywhere that a property is move-in ready.
That's a small tip to everybody trying to owner finance to primary residence. Move-in, just livable. You purchasing it as is. Just know that.
Right.
Yeah, always. Yeah.
Hey, look, because move-in ready is definitely subjective, and we navigated a storm behind that. We came out of it clean, but we got a learning lesson. Don't say move-in ready.
So did you guys say? Did you market it move-in ready when you were marketing it because of what the wholesaler told you?
Not on this one. Okay. We ran in troubles with a prior deal by marketing and move-in ready.
Yeah.
So, we had, man, Gerard could probably speak to that a little bit more. He has like nightmares behind this in specific.
Yeah, take that language out the marketing. It gets you in trouble big time.
Listen, this is the reason I got a business phone. It's because of that moving ready comment. So it wasn't too much trouble. It just was more hassle than the people who moved into the property. Their definition of move-in ready, even though they had walked through the property, even after seeing everything, their definition of move-in ready wasn't the definition of others. And so just moving forward, we had some back and forth dialogue. We came out of our pockets to make sure that they were taken care of on some things because they had poor communication, which we took responsibility for. So we took care of them, but we just learned not to say move-in ready. That's a curse word around.
It is.
Perfect. Got it. So again, going back, so you guys are into this property for how much again?
30,500 with closing costs.
And closing costs. Gotcha. Okay.
So
you took it with the idea that I know I can sell it under financing, right? Because it doesn't make sense wholesaling. So we're going to use some other tactics to find out a finance buyer for the property.
Absolutely.
Got it. Okay.
So what we attempt to do when we sell this to borrowers, we attempt to be fair. So we give them a discount on the ARV based upon some of the repairs that are in place. So we sold this property on owner finance for $59,000. We asked for $9,000 down, which was 15% of the mortgage, and they had a payment of $632 for, I believe, 15 years on this one.
Yeah. Okay. So the $632 is principal and interest, right? No taxes, no insurance, just a P. Okay. So P&I meaning principal and interest. And how much is the down payment?
It was $9,000.
$9,000. Okay. So right now you got a note for. You got a note for how much now? $50,000.
We got a note for $50,000. Yes, sir. And okay, from a market perspective, go ahead.
No. Let's break down how you market it for the buyer first. How'd you find the buyer?
We utilize bandit signs. So we partner with the wholesaler. They put out bandit signs in the area in the surrounding cities. And then we did a little bit of marketing online with Facebook marketing and Craigslist. And we were able to bring it home, put a borrower in place from that standpoint.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. How long did it take you? How long did it take you to find a buyer to get it locked up with the wholesaler?
Man, it only takes us, typically on these deals, it takes us about 14 days. With this one, it was about 21 because it's so rural. This took us about 21 to 24 days to lock in a borrower in place. And that's with them passing underwriting and everything.
Perfect. Okay. Cool. So right now you get that note for $50,000. You got a $9,000 down payment in your hand, right? And so did you guys say, hey, we're going to buy this note and keep it, or was your first thought, let's find a note buyer to buy a note?
So, man, because my brother and business partner was in Mexico, he's typically the disposition guy. And so I made some errors on the paperwork because I didn't have 2 liens. And typically what we would do is we would sell the first position lien and stay on the second. But because we only had 1 document, we just went ahead and sold the mortgage itself. And so we were able to collect the $9,000 down on this one. And I believe we were able to make a couple of grand on selling the mortgage within itself. I believe we ended up selling it for $33,000.
Got it. So you ended up selling the $50,000 loan balance, right? For how much did the note buyer pay for that balance?
He paid $33,000.
$33,000. Okay. which is like what was that? What kind of percent? Did you use a percentage scale to know? Like, how did he come up with this with the price?
I believe that put him at I think that was like 54% of the principal balance that was left over. This was an individual, because we were coming up so much in the deadline with closing the deal within itself. You know, we wanted to close it out, and we didn't shop it as much as we wanted to, because we had the seller that was getting a little bit antsy. We had the wholesaler that was getting a little bit antsy. But typically we would attempt to sell it for 70%. But you know, we saw the note buyer as a future guy that we want to do business with, and we wanted to keep the word with the wholesaler. And so we went ahead and closed it out, typically at more of a discount than we typically do. Typically we do 70%.
Got it. Okay, cool. I lost you guys for a minute too. I think the signal went out for a second. No, that's not bad. I mean, so here's the key though, right? You made $9,000 down payment, right? Plus you made the $3,000 from the note sale. You made 12, right? And then now your note buyer's in it for 33, and they gotta know that 50% of the value, right? And they're gonna profit too on that, right? So you know that's one good thing where that deal was dead on the wholesale. It was a dead wholesale deal, right? But you would make 12K from a deal that could not be wholesale. You know, like, I mean, you can't beat that. I mean, if you would have been happy making 5K in a wholesale deal, you made 12K in a deal just by taking the extra step of going out and finding that note in the end buyer for the property. Was that end buyer a homeowner or an investor?
It was a home. She was a home buyer. She was a home buyer. She was a young lady that was living in a trailer, and she was living in a trailer with her kids, who one of them just had a baby. And she owned the trailer and wanted to get something else for her and her husband. And we were able to provide that opportunity for her, and her kids can stay in that mobile home. So it was an awesome win-win scenario for her, for the wholesaler. The seller actually just had a stroke, and so she was dealing with some financial issues to keep up with that. To fund the actual A to B transaction, we actually used transactional funding from one of our friends, and we were able to pay him back significantly more than he expected. So he was excited about that. So, you know, we were able to bless 4 different people within a transaction. At the end of the day, you know, that's all it's about.
That's what I'm saying, man. That's the power of me of what you do when we're doing owner financing, because first of all, that homeowner, right? That homeowner is getting a property that they couldn't have gotten a property for. You can't get a loan on a property that price. Banks won't loan $75,000. To them, it's too risky, right? So we're the only banks in town that can do what we're doing for people who want to get a house, right? So that's always the best benefit of it when you see that homeowner or that investor. You had a private lender that came in. He made a good amount of money on his deal. He'll be open to do that again with you guys. You help the wholesaler close a deal that they couldn't wholesale, right? And the seller made their money, so everybody wins by using it. One more tactic, which is called owner financing, which, as we keep moving on, as far as the way the market's going, the way interest rates might end up going, owner financing is so key. We know we got an affordable crisis on our hands right now, where Absolutely. Anyone in this market right now, right, they're getting priced out. They're getting priced out every day because they're people with cash, right? So, right. I mean, this is a huge thing that I love to teach to people, because you then go use it and turn around your community, which is so big.
Right. It is, man. It's been a blessing. And since the last time you talked to Gerard, we've been able to bless multiple people on 3 different deals. And we have a major goal for this year. We just want to service as many people as possible through this tool that you showed us, man. So.
That's awesome, man. We got a quick question. Sammy said, what was the interest on your 2 notes? So 2 notes, I guess that means what? The note that you bought, that you used for your, because they made 1 note that they wholesale. So the rate on the note that you sold, right? What was the rate with the homeowner?
It was 12.9%, which is legal in South Carolina.
If I may, we give them I give them a hard time. When I got back, I said, I said 12.9. You know, usually we do around 10, but he was like, man, I was crunching the numbers and the numbers fit. Yeah, man, 12.9. I said, man, you dangerous. But it worked out. It ended up working out.
Yeah.
What was the payment again? Monthly payment was what?
The monthly payment with escrow involved ends up being $900, which is actually $50 below the rent for that property. So
yeah, and that's why I asked that too, because you're setting off the payment, right? We always say, I mean, I gotta borrow money at 12, 15, sometimes, right? So like, we try to stay in that 10% range on our notes, but what's the rate when you're renting? Because you're just renting for years, right? So people look at you and say, oh, that's a high rate, but it's not, right? We're the only people that can even do these deals in town. Any private money is going to be at a 10 or up rate, and someone was just renting forever, renting. Now they're able to buy that house. You're going to pay it off before that 15 years. It almost always happens that way anyway,
absolutely.
right? But it still makes sense.
It's a win. And to answer Sammy's question, typically we would do 2 notes, a first position note and a second position note at the same interest rate of the first. The first and the second would have the same interest rate, but we just didn't on this one, to answer your question.
And so kind of go into that. How do you structure those 2 notes? So you're saying you would do 2 notes with the homeowner? How's that work?
Absolutely. And Gerard, if you don't mind diving in a little bit on that.
Absolutely. So what we do is we like to sell the first position at least 70%. That last note actually was about 64% instead of 54. I was thinking, I was like, I don't think we gave a discount, but I didn't think it was that much. But it was about 60. Yeah. So it was about 64%. And so typically, so in this instance, so let's say we did the first position for 30,000. Typically what we'll do, because the loan is for 50,000, that's what they got to pay back. So what we'll do is we'll sell the first position for 30,000, and then a second position we would stay in at 20,000. So it'll be a loan 1 and a loan 2 that equals the total amount of the amount owed on the note. So that the person who bought the first position note, they're getting paid on 30,000 at 12%. We're getting paid on 20,000 at 12%. And so every time they make their monthly mortgage payment, the payments are distributed as such. And a lot of times,
I love that. Sorry, Jorie, keep going.
My apologies. No, but I
love that. Keep doing that. Too. Keep talking about that, though.
Yes, sir. No,
maybe explain Nan Street if we got a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Go ahead. I think because that point right there, how you guys doing those 2 notes, that's different, right? That's something that I haven't done. And the first time you told me about that, I was like, wow, that's kind of genius how you're like selling off a note to get the wholesaler or seller paid, but then you guys are staying in the deal on the second note, right? So I like that. So yeah, explain that to you do.
So what we did on a previous property called Nan Street, right? So I'm gonna attempt to keep the numbers kind of round. We sold the property for $150, right? With a $30,000 down payment. And this is like really, really close. I mean, within a couple of thousand of what we actually sold it for. But for the point, like I said, I'm gonna keep the numbers round. So we sold the house for $150 with a $30,000 down payment. And so that left a mortgage balance of $120. And so typically what we would do is we would sell first position for 70% of value of what the house sold for. And so what we did on this was we sold the first position for $80,000 to a retiree. And so a retiree, they got money sitting in the bank. That money's supposed to last them the rest of their life. But you got more people living 50 years past 50 than you have at any other point in human history. So to retire at 65 and to live off of that money, which is supposed to last you for the next 35 years, is just crazy, right? Mm-hmm. And so we partnered with some retirees. And so what we do is they got money sitting in the bank getting 0.02%. Y'all know how that goes. And so it's like, hey, here's the borrower, here's what the house is worth. You'll be in first position on the loan. So in the event that the borrower defaults, you technically, I mean, you would own this house. You're in first position, and you're getting a $150,000 house for $80,000. You know what I'm saying? So worst case scenario for the retiree is, you sell the house at $80,000 to get your money back. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yep. Oh.
Yeah. And so it's secure, right? So they get it at $80,000, right? And in this particular scenario, since they paid $80,000, that the borrower owes $120,000, right? And so $80,000 is the first mortgage. The second mortgage is $40,000, right? And so what we do is we just discount that second mortgage and we buy it. We discount it and buy it for about $5,000 at closing, because the SEC wants to see that you got some skin in the game, right? They don't want us, because otherwise we'd have discounted down to zero, but we don't want Uncle Sam knocking at our door. We don't want the government, we want to make sure that we are compliant. So that $40,000 second, we purchase that mortgage the same way that other individuals buy deeply discounted, unperforming notes. We're doing the same thing, except we're generating the note. So we, instead of buying it for $40,000, we discounted ourselves down to $5,000 at closing, and to make the register, to make the HUD statement all add up. And there's a first mortgage and a second mortgage. And when the homeowner goes to pay, we explain to them like, hey, this is an unorthodox transaction or mortgage statement, but here's what your total mortgage will be. Let's say it's $1,200 monthly payment. $200 is going to escrow, $600 is going to loan one, and $400 is going to loan two, and it's going to auto draft. So here is your monthly payment, but here's how it's going to draft.
Mm-hmm.
So, pardon me. Can you guys?
Yeah, you were good, man.
All right, I'm back, guys. You hear me, Ray? I lost you for a minute. Sorry about that.
It's all good. It's all good.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So I had a quick question. I lost Gerard a little bit, but on that note, on Nan, what was your purchase price for the deal?
It was, man, I believe that it was 80. I think it was 80 grand to cash out the wholesaler with assignment in the seller and everything. Yeah, it was 80 grand.
Got it. So basically, you're selling that first note you created that you sold is what's paying for that deal from the wholesaler, and then the rest that's left over, what you guys kept into the game. You kept yourself into that second note. Nice.
Exactly.
Awesome. Yeah, that's just that's another great way for, you want to wholesale the note, but then you want to stay in it. So you still make some residual income, right? Because that's the whole game with notes. It's residual cash flow, right? So the first deal you did, you guys made a wholesale fee, right? You assigned a note, basically, you made 12 grand, yep. Right? This other, and then you sold a portion of the note, because you can do that. You can do two notes. You can sell partial parts of notes. There's a lot. You can sell a note for 5 years. You can have a 30-year note and sell 5 years of the payments and come back in after 5 years. All these things you can do with that note, because it's a piece of paper, it's security, That's why I love them so much, the flexibility that you can do with them.
Man, it's a fantastic business, yeah. And that's something that we're looking to do on this one that we have is sell a partial. And a guy that's kind of tapping in and mentoring us, we were talking about selling the entire note, and he told us never sell the whole note. He said just sell a partial if you want, if you're already in on the note. Just sell a partial and get your cash out, and then come back in a couple of years later. And yeah, man, it's unlimited things that you can do. It's unlimited things.
Definitely.
Hey, Gerard.
Yeah, you back, man.
Man, it's the government, man. 5G, man. I'm just playing.
Nah, but we were just talking about, I was just saying how genius that is, how you sell off the portion that gets you the deal. You stay into the deal. Also, how you can sell off partial payments of notes. We were just talking about that too, right? Just when you learn how to create, and the key thing is that you're originating your own note and then deciding what you're going to do with it, right? And so that's just a genius, vehicle to use in real estate. Yeah, you're back.
Absolutely, man.
But good, man. Like, how you said too, right? This is done like a very rural area. I do a lot of these notes in very small markets, right? Where you don't have any other players. You have no banks playing there because of the numbers, So I think that if you're in a small market, owner financing is a cheat code. You can get an assignment fee and cash flow. You create appreciation at the time that you originate the note. Like, if you're not doing this, I don't know why. You need to be doing owner financing. Every deal that I get. Now, even when I try to wholesale a deal cash, I usually can't do it because I get so many replies back saying, "Hey, will you take land contract terms?" Because there used to be selling a land contract, And I say, "Yeah, I can do it. Like, the price is going to be different. If they do the price, it makes sense,
Absolutely.
Right. And then you got to think, most people are programmed to do getting into wholesaling because that's how we started. We started wholesaling. So it was like, $10,000, listening to Wholesaling Inc. podcast, shameless plug, they ain't pay me for that. But listening to that podcast, man, everybody was like $10,000, these deals. And Max Maxwell too was like, so we got to do 10. And so in owner financing, it's like you can get that in a down payment, so you can still get that. But every time they make a mortgage payment for the next 15, 20 odd years, you got cash flow coming in. And,
definitely.
In a lot of these markets where it's less than 80,000, they're not going to refinance, but they might pay you out early. But if it's over 80,000, like the one that we got in Nant Street, they owe 120,000 at either 8 or 10%. I don't remember right offhand right now, but they'll more than likely get their credit together and refinance in 5 years. They're going to cash us out.
Man, and that property, I was looking at it the other day. That property value skyrocket. That property is worth like $210 now.
That's crazy to me. But good.
Yeah, no. Good. I was gonna say that too, because lots of times people think that you're selling it for over ARV on owner finance, right? But you look the way it is right now. I look back at some of my deals from last year, and there's still equity in there for that buyer, right? Especially because I sell them as is. So you sell it as is, right? So if you sell it as is to an investor, there's got to be some room in there, right? If you sell it to a homeowner, you can make it close to ARV, but the market's still going up now. So you're like, man, that's still after 20,000 more, right? So that's what kind of makes it such a great tool to use, man. So. Hey, well, I'm happy you guys did that. I mean, I know Gerard, he texted me that first deal, I was like, I used all these tools you taught me. I was just happy to see somebody did it, So that's why anytime that I hear a story like that, I want to bring people on and say, hey, this can be done, right? You guys were new. You guys were new to investing. You've already done multiple deals like this where you either held on to the note or you turned a bad deal into a way that you wholesale the note, right? So it can be done.
We haven't even I can't wait to get one where we can do a mortgage wrap. We haven't even done a mortgage wrap yet.
Well, look, you can do a mortgage. If it comes to it, sure, man. Come on, man.
Well, no, we do. Hey, listen, I do lots of wraps. Nothing wrong with wraps. So I don't do sub two wraps. But if Gerard sells me finance, I will definitely own a finance to Ray and wrap it, So, just make sure the terms make sense for everybody. But we got another question real quick from Sammy. He said, how long have you two been in real estate? I'm a wholesaler learning owner finance now.
Man, what do you count how long? From the first deal or from the blood, sweat, and tears that it took up?
Count from when you made the decision to get into investing, right? Count that day.
All right, so boom. This is 2021. So made a decision in January going into 2019 that this is what I wanted to do. Had information overload for 6 months, but I was trying little stuff, like little stuff that I was
working.
Yeah, I was working, driving for dollars, doing different things like that. Man, I got a unique opportunity when we moved to the Charlotte market to try my hand at it full time. And that was so that was July of 2019. So just the short answer is like 2 years, right? But July of 2019, things got serious. Ray seen me out here spinning. You know, Ray knows me inside now, so he seen me hustling, and he was like, "Man, this is a smarter, more efficient way to do this." So that's my guy right there. You know, and for those of you guys who don't know, I've known Ray since a day after birth, so I don't know life without him. Seriously, that's my blood brother right there. And I mean, honestly, I mean, he came in July 2019. We got our first deal for about $11,000 in November 2019, and it's been off to the races ever since.
Got it. Yep. So not that long. You've been doing this for 2 years. I mean, your first deal took about 10 months, right? That was a wholesale deal. And then the first deal you did, where you actually did some owner financing note stuff, that was last year, right? In 2020.
Well, no, was that 20? Was that last year? It was
last year. That was, yep. That was.
Yeah.
That was, bro.
Yeah, that was 2020.
That 2020 was a wild year.
Yep.
So a year of being a traditional wholesaler, we kind of insert into the realm of owner financing. Not saying I think a person should start day one if they can, but yeah, after a year of us doing traditional wholesaling, we started rolling into the owner finance space.
Now, and if I may introduce that story real quick, look. So what happened was we was doing traditional wholesaling, and then a partner of ours, our other brother, Alexander Lloyd, joined Pace Morby Sub 2 group.
He did. He did. That's right.
So, and then Ray was actually the one saying, you know, you guys heard of this guy named Jorie? I'm like, nah, I don't want to be close to no Jorie, man. I'm past that. I don't want to be close to a Jorie. You're like, nah, Jorie, you know, and he was bigging you up like you were the GOAT. And
bro,
that's when we
was on the podcast just talking and just doing what you do, man, and you weren't selling nothing. You were just spitting off jewels, and I was like, this is the guy right here. I was like, Jorie is the guy right here.
Man, I know it's the first thing, but you gotta stop, man. This is about you too.
And I was just sending Alexander and Gerard your videos, and we would just send the videos. We would study them, talk about them. Yeah.
Hey, look, what's funny? I wasn't even trying to hear it.
I did a deal with Alexander, right? So I did a note deal with Alexander and showed him. I think that's what sparked it to you, because I showed him how to take that wholesale deal he had. I said, if you find a note buyer, I'll buy it from you, right? So that's what we did, and then I remember we talked to you guys about that. Yep.
So, Jorie, the behind the scenes on that, I wasn't trying to hear it. I'm like, look, go do a deal. I'm wholesaling. Y'all talking about witchcraft to me. And when Lloyd told me what y'all did, I was like, wait. Oh, no, I got to get in on this. And
yeah.
Glory to God, a situation immediately came up that we couldn't wholesale. So, you know, it was perfect, because that woman, we was able to bless that woman big time because of you, Kev, and y'all platform, man. So, man, seriously, salute.
Appreciate it, guys. Appreciate that, man. Well, hey, I wanted to have you guys come on here real quick and talk about that deal. Like I said, I'm gonna bring Gerard and Ray and probably Alex some more. You know, hopefully a couple times a month. We just break down some of these note deals to people so they can just see how it is. Because the note game, it sounds complicated, man, but it really, really isn't. You just have to dig into it a little bit, learn the verbiage, and you can do it. You know, so
that's it.
Appreciate you guys coming up here. As always, shut up and invest. Check out the real estate course, and we'll bring you some more content. All right, guys.
All right, man.
Peace.